recording now, so we're testing things. So, all right, all we need to do now is just sort out your issue with your audio. All right. No, okay, all right. I'll let you sort that out as well. All right. All right. Well, I'll run through some things so you can. Okay. All right. Bye now. On here, with Jamie, for them or for us, or let me just quickly just do the Chrome key on Jamie. Very quickly, just make sure I've got the best option that I can get there.
Basically, I feel like it's Al going to be sat in your seat next time.
Yes, exactly. So I want Al to know exactly. All right. Good. Let me save it. Save that. Preset findable. So what we need is to save all the images, transcript, everything in one place. So, okay.
Basically, I mean, I'm wearing one which I've managed to not catch COVID through these masks repeatedly. They're clinical grade FFP3, and obviously I'm testing negative. If I wasn't, I wouldn't come in, but there are plenty of masks available. We should at some point decide what to do if I do test positive, because we'll then have to work out how to complete the residency successfully. That's fine, we can. That's fine, we can just do it on different date. The 4th, yeah. Sounds good, yeah. Yeah, we'll find something. We can email about dates. It's really not a problem. Honestly, it means that I get to steal back a chunk of time at a busy point. So I'm going to take that out of my calendar now. And it's honestly a big, it's big.
I have, when they call in tomorrow, these calls, there will also be, and there'll be some audio in video ones. Recordings, these ones here, they only play when they're in the school. Some of them constantly, the ones that constantly we've got are the ones with,
I guess what I'm asking is how would you distinguish between, like, who's calling now? Obviously, there's stuff coming through. But none of this is labelled apart from the statements which make it very clear. But there's no indication of, like, calling something or.
Yeah, to be honest, it's so we can see when you should go to see a little, where would it be? Well, you might be going to the they are sending us something that's so low. think it's their end, it's not our end, I think, I'm sure.
But they're sending
Yeah.
audio
Yeah, I think it's their.
to us, so we are receiving it.
We're receiving, but they're not sending us enough audio, or I think they've got something going on their end. I'm absolutely sure that it's not, you know, that they should be sending it through, yeah. They will come to the master. We will get them. That's Jamie. This is 1, 2, Jamie.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, so where
it should be what number is it? 6.
what equipment are they using?
No idea. When they're coming back, sure it's going to be there. They can hear us. They can hear us in 1, 2. See if you can hear me. It comes up, see if you can hear me. We're going to go and turn your microphone. So
I'm not getting anything on my headphones.
Jamie will hear something.
Yeah, but he's also not talking.
No. Had a bit of noise there.
So it is getting the game now.
Not on the phone. Definitely hear something.
The only thing I can really think to do is raise the game,
Yeah.
but then I obviously don't
We
want
just
that
going to
to.
turn up all our volume. They can hear us as well, fine actually. So I've got a bit of software plugin coming in. Plugin I'm using. Plugin is actually that's a very good noise suppression on waves audio. And
So maybe we don't want to noise suppression of everything in the website.
you won't hear it. It just really is knocking out the background sound. It's quite good. It won't affect it. Yeah.
We're getting the game now.
I do think it's them. Definitely right.
I think we're probably still streaming to Singapore. I am not quite sure how to get the sound back from them, which will be super useful. Is it coming into the laptop, Al?
It is. So I've increased the gain on the input. You've got a pre and you've got a post. In terms of that mix, we can see on the screen that stuff is coming in. Just
I'm still not getting it out, I don't think. Hey. But it's not, I don't think it's a gain issue, because I'm not getting the sound from the headphones that says there should be a sound, if that makes sense. It's just the headphones processing it as if there is no sound. I feel like I would hear like a ladder or something.
Yeah.
But I'm just not picking anything up. I wish Phoebix had like a live chat or something. Oh, I just got 2 bits of crackle of sound input briefly.
Yeah, I mean.
I heard myself now. Yeah, okay, I can now hear myself on a echo.
Testing 1, 2.
Hello. I think I can hear you.
Can you hear us? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Shut the doors. Oh, you can hear us now. But it's
Yes.
because I'm really close to the mic. That's probably why.
It's not very loud at all. And I can hear myself on an echo, but I can hear you, which is good.
Yeah. So this is the test recording, right?
Yeah, the sound is very quiet, but
They do. It's an issue. They couldn't get sound and then stop. And it's really not. So I don't know what on earth is going on.
I mean, there aren't any lines at their end anyway, so it's a lot more about whether they can hear ours.
Do you want to hear them? So you can record them?
But I don't think there's any sound that needs.
Oh, I see.
It doesn't need sound. No, it just moves. Just move on. Just this like I track that. If we're talking to Jamie, yeah. After the talk. Okay, so Jamie and Paul and everyone, yeah, so it's not so critical to hear sound from Jade. If we need to chat, I will come close to the microphone. I'll try and keep out the shot, and we can talk with me close to the mic. We will set up. We need more amplification that we'll do the next time we're together. But let's carry on with rehearsing and seeing what we're doing as best we can now.
Sounds like a plan. Sound from Singapore. Yes. We were just saying that the sound, that if we needed to talk, they could come close to the mic so that I can hear them, and that otherwise let's focus on the things that, because we don't need it working too well.
I don't think you're going to get headphones being able to do. Can we do multiple outputs? At the moment it's going to change headphones. I've got another set of headphones. You can't get another set of headphones.
You need multiple sound devices usually, sound cards. If you go to more sound settings, then stereo mix. Yeah. Then you can tell it to listen to playback to one device and listen to another. But it's not guaranteed to work, and it's not simple.
Are you talking about outputting to both your headphones and speakers at the same time?
Or to my headphones and another set.
How do I add another output?
Yeah, it will need to be. I'm inclined to say though that how much of this is essential?
It's not essential, but it would only just, it helps out hear what's going on. And it helps us hear the conversation, monitoring the audio, recording. I think then it's quite useful to do it through Property Cloud. It's not something I would not want to do. I can't see it, just see if it works. Yeah. If something comes through it, there is a spare one there. It's not like make the most what they add. Yeah, sure.
Al, I found the instructions by Googling Windows 11 multiple audio outputs, and then there's a how-to geek page that explains it. I'm good. I've got tons of water.
Yeah, go for it. It's really good coffee here.
It's a horrendous train journey. Summertime going from Brighton to Shrewsbury. Never want to do it. Sure.
Yeah, so we're all good here and set, you know, well set up and ready to go whenever you are.
Any luck with it, Al?
I think I found something useful though.
I think we're just going to try and get the sound sorted so that it can be monitored at the VMix end as well.
Great, that's great. Yeah, just be aware, because Jade
it is
is
11:30.
not here, because Jade isn't hearing everything very distinctly. I may be kind of working with her to, you know, to
I can't
convey
hear them at the
what's
moment.
being said as well. So just be aware.
Luke, can I give you my laptop? And would you be able to plug it into charge? I know that my charger is out somewhere. Sorry? Just because.
Yeah. You may have to go.
Right. Can you still hear me in Singapore, even if I can't hear you?
Yes, we can, Jamie. Yes.
Brilliant. I think while we're playing with sound at this end, I'm just quite interested in how Jade and I can actually move around each other. Like where we are in location to each other in physical space. So like just what it looks like to move. So This is about as close as we can get to each other, I think, probably before it starts to become upset with the layers. So I can't turn very much because the green screen underneath me doesn't work very well with my wheels. So turning slowly wrinkles it. But if this is the kind of space we take to each other, then so at what point is this about where I'm looking at Jade? Roughly. Yeah. Cool. So it is looking upwards and a lot further away than the monitor is. So then to not look, we've got, I guess we've got that broken triangle of Jade looking at me and then me not looking back. So we've got those angles.
Again, that works, as we said yesterday. Sometimes
There's absolutely no sound
contact,
coming
but
through, I'm
just
afraid.
No.
So
Can you hear now?
if I look
Can
at
you hear
the
us?
chunk
Hello?
of script that we were due to use, we've got it's a section where I would usually move quite a lot on stage. So figuring out how to give it motion as a section. How much turn do I have before I... Basically none. Okay. I'm trying to work out whether I can turn at all without upsetting the vinyl, but I can't really. I wonder what it would have looked like without it.
Test 1, 2.
With black floor, it wouldn't key, of course. We'd lose the whole floor area.
Okay.
We can't key
Cool. So then we've kind of I guess we just have to live with the lack of motion.
It's the floor is the issue.
Yeah, I can.
If you move off, we can reposition it. Hopefully, just try and.
I think what I've got basically is just very light turns. That if I go forward like this and a turn, I mean, obviously this takes me well out of the picture.
Straight it up anyway.
Yeah, I think what I need to avoid basically is the rotational force on it. So I've got a little bit of.
Mic test 1, 2.
Right, without going too far forwards. So this is about as far. Yeah, cool. Okay, so this is roughly my range of motion.
Mic test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's coming out. The monitor, yeah.
So
Jamie, have we reconnected with sound?
yes, but it's no longer through my headphones. It's just a speaker into the room, which is probably a lot better.
Excellent, great.
Well, we might not. I don't know actually. I don't know if we will. It's your microphone. It's the sole microphone that we're using.
Hopefully, Yeah.
So we're using that headset. Does it come through on?
Yeah, because it's no longer coming through on my headphones at all.
Is that something Al has a new change on there? It is. It might not be a problem. Let you know when we hit recording.
Is it? At your end, are you familiar with the bit of script that we were thinking of using, or?
Yes, Jade is aware.
Cool. In that case, do we want to just try running it and figuring out what feels natural in terms of movement, and perhaps playing with what it looks like to look at and not look at each other as we go through it?
Okay, yeah.
Cool. So we would come out of the panel section, which ends at Edward's line, and then in some way I've been observing the presence of the panel, and so I then need to take my focus from the panel back to the room. Every day, my carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough? I learned to live like this. I turned grief into motion. I built myself alive. Thanks to my carers, wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity, dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So now I can assert my place, because they don't get to make my body into my definition. So once I'm doing this in a fixed spot, we lose a lot of the motion of the piece, because we lose me taking up space on the stage. So I think that then says that actually, rather than trying with tiny bits of driving the chair, we're better off with the motion either coming from Jade or coming from anything we do with, for example, changing the kind of virtual light state on the virtual stage as we develop it. Jade, what movement do you have around me? So you can come round in front of me. That works. What happens if you go behind me? Is there a point at which it will go wrong?
I don't think she can go behind. She's in the front layer.
But we'd have to decide whether.
Okay,
yeah.
We can set the layer differently.
Yeah.
So it could be done.
So the Stream Deck would make it possible to switch between.
Yeah, we could just do two scenes. One with a layer where Jade is in front, one with a layer where Jade is behind. And when Jade moves to the left or to the right of you, at that point, depending on where Jade is going to go, behind or in front, we can switch to the correct layer. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so there's that 360-degree motion.
That gives the impression that Jade will go around you.
Yeah.
A little bit like how we've done it with the paragliding.
But even with this, the fact, because Jade's got the space to step backwards to where she is now, it feels like she can get behind me, if that makes sense.
We could do it.
Yeah, but we also don't entirely even need to be able to do it because, or at least we get a lot of the effect from what we've got now.
I mean, I can do it. I can set it up in 2 seconds.
Might I suggest something, which is the
That
following?
might be quite a cool way of using this. I'm just thinking that in terms of really wanting, if I'm going to have very little motion, how do we maximize what Jade can do? Can you come on from either side or only from one side, Jade?
She can come on either side, and I think what Paul was saying is if he switches the layers, for example, Jade could start on one side, come in front of you, and go to the other side. Then Paul switches layers, and then 10-20 seconds later she comes behind you, so you get the
I'm just at the
360
moment trying to figure
degrees.
out
Is that correct, Paul?
Jade's entrance. So what
Just
options
point
do
to
we have
wherever
for
you
Jade
want
to
her to
enter?
come.
Where are those? I've got no
I'll
sound at the
show.
moment, so. Cool. Okay, so the entrance, there's plenty of space for. But I think probably. I've got sound again. Yep. So if Jade is slightly further back, because I'm just at the point of entrance in terms of proportions, because otherwise, yeah. Yeah, so that's. I'm about as far forward as I can be without losing my wheels. So given that we're starting from this panel scene, I feel like the entry should be after the first line, and I think in terms of the energy, I think it should probably be something starting insular and then opening up. So we find that connection as we go through it rather than being connected from the very beginning.
So Jamie, you're happy with the entrance from that side?
I think that works really well. I think if we do an entrance after the first line that has an acknowledgement.
Can you remind me of the first line?
Every day my carers take my body, they hold it.
Okay, good. Can I suggest, yes, you make the entrance after that first line and maybe then does the touching on your shoulder?
Yeah, if
and
we
then
can.
a bit later. Sorry, then a bit later when you're talking about they turn you and so on, she starts to make some movements and go around you and so on. I don't know if you want specific gestures, literal sort of gestures about turning you, touching you, holding you.
I think especially if we can really choreograph and coordinate it well, I'm interested in if I don't notice her entering until she touches me, and then there's that moment of startlement. and how much we can manage with those lines. But if we take it slowly and work out what it looks like for that contact to be there.
Okay. Let's try it again and keep working.
Every day.
Okay, here we go.
Every day, my carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough? I learned to live like this. I turn grief into motion. I built myself a life. Thanks to my carers. Wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity. Dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So now, I will assert my place, because they don't get to make my body into my definition. When this comes together, it looks so good, doesn't it? It's, you really can't imagine it until the pieces come together, and then suddenly there is a kind of magic to it, isn't there?
Well, that makes it all worthwhile.
You could do some fascinating actual choreography for things like what it looks like to actually be pushed.
Yeah.
If we get there, it might be interesting to see what it looks like and whether Jade and I can coordinate enough for her to appear to be moving me in various ways or not.
Yes.
Shall we give it another run now? We've got a sense, and I think that first run it all really came together. And I think if we just try and feel for what feels natural now.
Okay, should we try it again?
Every day, my carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough for you? I learned to live like this. I turned grief into motion, and I built myself a life. Thanks to my carers. Wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity. Dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So now, I will assert my place, because they don't get to make my body into my definition. a way of, I don't know, it's figuring out whether there's a way of,
Sure.
I'm trying to work out whether we want to lean in towards a collaborative ending or a resistant ending, whether it, because this is very different from the live version of this, and whether we want to lean towards a kind of Jade's character and mine finding each other and a positive connection of us and the they, or whether we want to, or whether Jade is part of the they.
For me, I think it will both be easiest and probably more powerful if you make a connection and it has poignancy and beauty, rather
Cool.
than this. I think it would be more difficult to pull off.
Okay. In that case, cool. I will, yeah, I'll be looking at different points.
I think with the movements, I'm not sure we're going to get the turning and so on, but maybe there's enough what's happening here, coming on, you know, touching your shoulder, your reaction, then she comes in front of you, and then you find each other's hand. That's possibly enough.
Yeah.
Okay, should we go again?
Every day, my carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough for you? I learned to live like this. I turned grief into motion. And I built myself a life. Thanks to my carers, wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity, dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. But now, I will assert my place, because they don't get to make my body into my definition. So I think being able to follow Jade's face as she moved round me, I think worked really well. Do we want to hold that movement back a little bit and do it through the lines from thanks to my carers rather than from I turned grief into motion?
Okay, thanks to my carers is the cue for her to cross in front.
Yes, start the circle.
Okay, great. I think it'll be helpful if Jade offers her hand very close to yours, and you, Jamie, do the majority of the linking, and you can time that and so on, so that
I'll do my best.
Jade
Yeah.
can keep her attention. Yeah, her attention on you, but when she can't actually see the monitor, so it's difficult for her to. She will offer, give, and then you can time.
Cool.
And do you want both hands? Maybe both hands. Nice.
Both feels quite gripping rather than reaching.
Sorry, say that again.
I feel like both is more gripping rather than reaching. I feel like kind of one may work better.
Okay, one, fine.
Let's give it a go.
Okay, we're ready to go again.
the actors. Basically, Lewis would take David's role. Jack's already emailed you to say that David had to drop out.
Oh, then Lewis can take David's role, yeah. Cool, ready, sorry. Trying to sort out the actors for tomorrow as well, just then. So, okay. Every day, my carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough for them? I learned to live like this. I turned grief into motion, and I built myself a life. Thanks to my carers, wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity, dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So now, I will assert my place, because they don't get to make my body into my definition. So this is coming together really well. I think if we do the walking round slightly more slowly, and then the reach for my arm at the end slightly lower, they were the two things that I noticed. So plug this into the charger, spare wire for it. The portable charger. Just making sure I've got power for devices. Cool. Luke has got hearing aids in it as well, that box.
Okay, all that is clear. Do you want
Cool.
to go again?
Yeah, let's go again. Every day, my carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough for them? I learned to live like this. I turned grief into motion, and I built myself a life. Thanks to my carers, wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity, dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So now, I will assert my place, because they don't get to make my body into my definition. Are we able to, if Jade lowers her hand and I say stop at the right moment?
Yeah, sure. So you you're looking to both move at the same time. She will need to look away to the monitor rather than at you, but that can work.
Oh, I was just thinking more so that now, like just so that in the rehearsal we work out about the right height for Jade's hand in terms of the reach working.
Oh, okay, but not that she will keep stationary, but we just need to get the right place.
Yeah, the right place so that it's at the right height, so we know roughly where that level is. Yes, Paul.
I'm going to say something Steve knows. Now, Alan and I have now just set up the situation that Jade could walk in front of you, and then we'll cut and she can walk behind you as well.
Oh, that's interesting. So if Jade can now walk the whole way round me, including behind me.
So literally, Jade would just walk off the way she came on, but she doesn't need to come. She needs to go behind. She needs to be back, not. She needs to be upstage, not downstage.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible.
Once she's moved completely to one side, Al can then switch scenes, and then Jade can move back in front of you, but downstage.
Yeah.
Sorry, downstage, upstage. I know. Yeah. Left and right's all right.
So, if we've got that full, then if we try going from, so with the line, I turned grief into motion and I built myself a life. If Jade's going round in front of me, and then with the thanks to my carers line, Jade continues the circle but going round behind me, so that we've had this full 360 degrees.
Sure, we can try that.
And yeah, that's about the right level for hands. So yeah, that's great for hands. And to give this a try with the idea of Jade going round in front of me for I turned grief into motion, then behind me for the thanks to my carers bit.
And I'll come here.
Cool. Should we give it another go?
Yeah.
Every day. my carers take my body.
Sorry, one more. We weren't ready. Okay, here we go.
Every day, my carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough for them? I learned to live like this. I turned grief into motion, and I built myself a life. Thanks to my carers, wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity, dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So now, I will assert my place, because they don't get to make my body into my definition. I really like the ability to go right round. I think that works.
Yes, it makes a lot of difference because it creates that illusion that the audience, you that sense of depth, just movement around you.
So I think
Seamlessly done by Al, switching between the scenes.
So I think then after I learn to live like this, we want Jade to be able to do half of the circle from I turned grief into motion and I built myself a life, to stop there while I say thanks to my carers, and then to continue going round the back while I'm on wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity, dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So I think it feels to me like it's just getting the timing of that right now.
Sure.
You want to give it another run?
Okay, should we go again? Yeah. But, yeah, one moment. So, yeah. Okay, ready?
Cool. Every day, my carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough for them? I learned to live like this. I turned grief into motion, and I built myself a life. So it's from the what I'm thinking is that we do the first walk round after I learn to live like this. So Jade comes in front of me during the line. I turn grief into motion. Pauses for thanks to my carers, and then goes round behind me for the rest of that line.
Okay, sorry, that was my mistake. I misunderstood the cue. I've got the cue now. Let's go again from the top.
Every day, my carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough for them? I learned to live like this. I turned grief into motion, and I built myself a life. Thanks to my carers, wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity, dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So now, I will assert my place. Because they don't get to make my body into my definition. I feel like if we do that last handhold a bit lower, but I feel like the timing wise, how's it looking for people who aren't performing and so have more brain?
I think it looks good. Yeah.
Cool.
Looking pretty good to me. I think,
Um,
sorry, Paul, I think it might help once.
Hang on. I've got both.
What?
I've got two people talking to me at once. Sorry. Let me concentrate on Singapore first and then London.
Okay, so for me, the hand touching right at the end of the scene is going to work better with the previous layer, the first layer. So that would mean Paul has to change the layer again. So she goes behind him and then bring her in front.
Yeah.
So that she has the dominant hand.
So Al.
And Jamie, you just find it.
Once Jade has come round behind me and is back where she is now, is it possible to put it back with the layer where she's the front? Oh, okay. Al's been doing that.
Oh, he made her dominant again at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's front layer now. Just put your hand out. Yeah. Oh, okay, yes. But it may be that you need to turn. I don't know how awkward it is. You need to turn your hand so she's not turning the back of your hand. She's touching the front of your hand.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I think also I was thinking about doing it lower down.
Lower down. There. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And having that distance work. Yeah. So you need that distance. So not. Yes. Can you see the position here? That looks perfect.
Brilliant.
So Jay, you have your position a little bit away so that you're in space. Yeah, so you're a little bit further away.
Right. Paul, what were you saying? Sorry, I think.
Sorry, I was just going to say to do. If you're happy with the monitors, if there's anything where you want us to move the monitor from the point of view of having better views or left or right, then we can.
I think at the moment, if it looks from your end like my eye lines are in the right place.
You're perfectly fine. I just want to make it more comfortable for you if you want to.
At the moment, it's working really well. I can see Jade where I need to, so we don't need to move the monitors at this end.
And that's just that Jade. I don't know whether Jade is always. Maybe you'll discuss that. Sometimes Jade looks to camera front.
Yeah, so where we want Jade's eye line to be in terms of me versus the audience. I actually think there's something in the idea that for Jade there isn't an interaction with the audience necessarily. But let's run it with the bits we're trying at the moment. Because I think we're getting to the point of like a clean run of this.
We're recording it all, so audio sounds all right from Singapore? Not that there's any audio that's safe, but
very, very quiet and only when they're by the mic, but
they can hear you.
I think so, yeah.
I just heard that David can't make it tomorrow.
Yes, so Lewis will be doing it instead.
So what I'm going to ask Jack, could Jack send David's
vMix stuff to Lewis?
vMix and log into Lewis. It saves me messing about with that.
Or into
Oh, right.
So you won't.
Okay. So he will call fantastically also.
Yeah.
Right, I'll just go. I won't bother this.
Absolutely done that.
Okay.
Cool. Ready at your end?
Yeah, we're ready.
Yes.
Every day, my carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough for them? I learned to live like this. I turned grief into motion, and I built myself a life. Thanks to my carers, wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity, dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So now, I will assert my place, because they don't get to make my body into my definition. So I think from my end, then the only thing is just timing the length of the arc around me. So it's really coming. It's when it actually works, it does look incredible.
It does. And yeah, the more you do it, you kind of lose the sense of where this is happening.
Yeah.
Who's in what city? Who's in what place?
It's this weird thing of like touch and it feeling like weirdly intimate, even though we're literally in different countries.
We've got about half an hour, 40 minutes left. What time is it?
In about, I'd say about 20 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. It's to start packing up.
But then I think we've got this scene almost done.
Yeah.
My only thinking is about the timing of that circuit.
Yeah.
Jamie, on the last one, we didn't quite get the connection at the end of the two hands. Do you want Jade to sort of find you as well? Or
I think
is it better for her to just keep still?
Given the monitor issue, it probably makes more sense for me to be the one looking, because I'm the only one that can see what's going on.
Okay, fine. I think we will have a better I know we will have a better monitor setup for Jade next time. So yeah, I mean maybe we do a bit of both for now, but she will also look. I don't think she has to have a exact eye contact with you. She can kind of check the monitor and find you as well.
Cool. In that case,
Great. Shall we go again?
yeah, and if we try with the timing on the turns round me.
Okay. How can we improve the timing of that?
The timing of the circles. So, going in front of me runs from from after I learned to live like this. So during, I turned grief into motion and I built myself a life. Then there's a pause on thanks to my carers. And then the bit going round behind me lasts from wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity, dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So that probably needs to be a slower one because there's more text.
Okay. Because of the kind of sound difficulty, it may not be absolutely exact, but I will give those notes because she's not able to really kind of hear every line. But we will, we will get it good enough. Okay.
I wonder whether if Jade can see you, whether you can use a hand signal to indicate start, go, stop.
Yes, I already am doing all the cues. I think it's easier just for her to get the pace a little bit slower for that second one. I think she can do that without me having to do too many hand gestures. First one, second one, slow. Okay, let's try it.
Every day, my carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough for them? I learned to live like this. I turned grief into motion. And I built myself a life. Thanks to my carers, wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity, dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So now, I will assert my place, because they don't get to make my body into my definition. I think that worked really well. Yeah, when it all comes together, it's fantastic. Where are we at in terms of what we want to run again before the end of the session?
What other sections involves?
This was the main section in the script, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was the section in the script that I planned to use.
The only thing was you considering other things, other things you might want to explore.
There was another section that, if this section didn't work, was my kind of backup plan section. I think this has worked quite well.
Is it the same bit of scenography, or do we need to change the scenography? Which is we need to redo what we just done with this scene. We can bring elements into this if you wanted to. We have only got about 15 to 20 minutes to do that.
Honestly, I think then probably trying to do that is trying to do too many things.
Yeah. What the important thing is that you and Jade have got a sense of that spatial relationship between the two of you working together over distance, but somehow conflating these spaces into one, which is really the kind of whole mission of the project, really.
And I think
that concept is important.
I think it's worked really fantastically. It's so warm in here, sorry.
It is warm in here. But the fan it's the problem with the...
Do we want to say then that we've done what we needed to do with this?
I think we're good. I think we'll call it a wrap. We'll
Cool.
Can we just? Can I just ask for one?
One sec, sorry,
final
London
little
people, one
proposal?
sec. Sorry, Singapore.
Can I just say? Can I just suggest before Jade goes, we just do one final run because just to kind of
Yeah,
really
to set it.
solidify it as well.
Yeah.
We're not quite getting the contact at the end, and I think you need to, Jamie, just be more kind of certain with your hand touch.
It's hard because I can't see clearly enough on the monitors where our hands are.
Okay.
Can the monitors come in
I'll ask
closer
Jade
to me?
to do more on that.
Let's see what happens. It's just because the figures are too small. I mean, it's Luke's one that I would need anyway, really. Let's see. Can we try that for reach now? If Jade's hand is lower so that I'm not trying to get my arm off the armrest for like reaching upwards for a long period. Yeah, so that's great height-wise. It doesn't seem to have ruined anything, the light change. Yeah.
It may actually work rather than her sort of cheating the look. Maybe if she just stands next to you. So it's more of a kind of pose, if you like. Does that work? And then she can really see your hand very easily and make sure that the connection works. A little bit kind of stylized.
I feel like I'm too big in this moment. Like my hand is a lot. We're not quite right proportionate to each other. That's a bit more proportionate, yeah. Cool.
Don't worry about yeah. Great. Okay. Try one more time.
From the top? Cool.
One more.
Every day, my carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough for them? I learned to live like this. I turned grief into motion, and I built myself for life. Thanks to my carers, wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity, dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So now, I will assert my place, because they don't get to make my body into my definition. How did that look from the screen's end?
Looks great.
Yeah, and it's my problem. It's my fault for putting out off.
Cool. Can we try another go at our end? The only other thing that struck me was being a bit quicker on wiping. A bit. I can't remember whether it was too fast or too slow. Wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity, dressing, undressing, lifting, turning, trying to get that paced. But I mean, I think other than that, we're there.
Okay, we're ready.
Every day, my carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough for them? I learned to live like this. I turned grief into motion, and I built myself for life. Thanks to my carers, wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity, dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So now, I will assert my place, because they don't get to make my body into my definition. Okay, this is really cool. You don't sound quite convinced, Paul.
No, I am absolutely.
Good. No, it's so weird in such a good way.
Yeah. No, completely. Don't worry. I take pictures. I can't quite see it. It's so bright. Your view is a little clearer than mine.
Yeah, I might try and get an image or two of that.
No, I like it.
There's definitely a really interesting paper there about like physical intimacy in the virtual space and the ways in which, like, normally if I was doing the scene in person with someone new, there'd be the conversation of like, where are we both okay with being touched and how?
Yes.
That you don't have because you're in different spaces, but it still feels weirdly intimate. It still feels like, I don't know, like if Jade randomly reached out and slapped me, even though I would only know it had happened because I'd seen it on a screen, it would still somehow have a resonance. And there's something really interesting about existing that profoundly in such a virtual space.
There is, you can perform that slap.
Oh, indeed, yeah. But I was just thinking about the embodied sense of. I don't know whether you have to write all sorts of papers as your outputs.
I do, and I have written about it.
Excellent. Send me it. I'd be very interested.
No, I have, absolutely. I want to try and just chromically Jade. Very, very slightly Jade stop. Just quickly, very quickly, if you have a chance for one more, my only worry is, if we do one more without that fan on, would that be all right?
Sure. Paul's just said, can we do one more run without the fan?
Yes, please.
I'm also wondering whether we do this run. Let me just get my lenses right on my own camera.
Could you ask Jade to stand on the screen for a minute and just do a key on quickly?
Jade, could you stand in front of the screen so that Paul can do a key? Just straight on.
Sorry, where do you want to be? Further down?
Whereabouts? That's good. Is that perfect?
Yep, that's good. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Go. Jane, key. Jane, your key is good. Fine. Okay, ready to go. If you want to do one more without the fan on, I really would like to just walk one more fast recording for time.
Shall we also do, if we're doing one last run, shall I take the mask off for that so that we've got a recording that's a bit... I don't mind at all. It's not for me really, if that makes sense. Yeah, that will... My I'm just wondering whether I can get any decent angles on the screen. Not really, no, I won't try. Cool. Ready at everyone else's ends?
All set here.
Every day. My carers take my body. They hold it. They're holding me, my increasingly motionless self. Is that not enough for them? I learned to live like this. I turned grief into motion. And I built myself a life. Thanks to my carers. Wiping my ass without scrubbing away my dignity. Dressing, undressing, lifting, turning. So now, I will assert my place, because they don't get to make my body into my definition. Okay, that...
Beautifully done. It's really good.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Really good. Lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's with Jade today, Jamie? Is somebody else?
Jamie, can we just ask, in terms of costume for her, what do you want? White? I mean, they're not hot. She's not a hospital carer. She's a kind of
No,
more personal.
costume wise, honestly, like people normally, I don't know, I think there's something that works with it just being kind of street clothes. That, Al, what's your feeling from it? Because I'll be wearing probably the silver t-shirt, denim jacket, jeans, and high heels combo. Obviously, we've had the pink scrubs used previously, but I don't. Given that it's just this one bit, do you have any sense of also with the lighting what would work for costume?
I think because we are using house lights and quite open light, any kind of costume is going to be working. Is going to work and will be visible. I think it's worth seeing it with pink scrubs.
They'll be probably quite difficult to get. So it's more like, are there any? I think if we're more likely to be using street clothes, so it's really whether there's anything you think that.
I think it'd be cool to experiment with quite like baggy, flowy clothes, just to emphasize the moving in front and behind.
Yeah.
I also think, as a general thing, there needs to be a bit more like movement in the background because it is a backdrop and it's quite stagnant.
So you mean in terms of the visuals on VMix?
Yeah, I guess so. Or just like added layers to it, I guess. Because all you see is like the waft of haze.
Yeah, so we can play. So then I was talking to Al, who is both the like lighting designer, but also the person that has done all of the tech to put the show together in general. who suggested quite like baggy clothes and flowy clothes to kind of capture movement. So something that's sort of maybe like street clothes-ish, trousers and top-ish, but like baggy and flowy rather than, I don't know, does that sound right to you, Al?
Yeah, maybe like a long cardigan, for instance.
Long cardigan, suggests Al.
Long card, street clothes, bags on, yeah, and for me, color-wise, I think light is good because the background is so dark. When Jade first came, she was just in black, and she sort of got a little bit lost. So I found her that lighter T-shirt. So I think light colors work because the background's so dark.
Yeah, so lighter colours, flowy-ish, flowing clothing.
Okay, and do we know when the next rehearsal for this will be? When
Next
we need to get those,
rehearsal, probably the
or we can
performance
work that
day.
out at another time. Might be worthwhile having a rehearsal before on the same day, if that's best, or to have a rehearsal.
Sorry, your sound is breaking up a lot. Should we try email for figuring this out? I'm just aware that I'm hearing some of
Sure.
it. No one else in the room is hearing any of it. And we've got a very long game of telephone happening at the moment where email might be easier. Also that way potentially for Jade and I to be able to be in contact.
Okay, yeah, we can work all this out via email. No problem.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Okay. Jade was just asking in terms of the relationship between you. She's a carer, but the idea is that maybe she's been with you for a long time, several months, and all that. She's wanting a bit of context.
So the context, I guess, in the context of the wider piece, is that we very much, so the way that my care works in England is that the NHS puts the money in a bank account, and then I do all of the recruitment, training, organising, everything comes from me. So that means then that I employ, so it's a very different relationship to any kind of a sort of care home or agency care or anything, because we get to know each other, we work together, and there isn't that divide. So we see that in other parts of the show as well. So I guess it's a lot more, it's got a professional distance to prevent too much emotional intimacy, but it's a lot more kind of casual and friendlier relationship than the framing would usually suggest. So the people I employ, for example, have often never worked in care before. I'm just going to move out of the camera space so we can start putting things away.
Sure. That's really helpful. Thanks, Tim.
No worries. I can also answer questions by email and things.
Sure, brilliant.
Has Jade had a chance? Have we sent Jade the film of the show at any point?
I don't believe so.
Cool. I will ping that over in an email, and then if you're able to pass it on.
Yeah, will do. I'll also share Jade's email in case you want to, correspond.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm going to vanish so we can pack up. But it was really lovely to meet you, and we'll be in touch by email, which will be easier, I suspect.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jamie.
See you later.